home you're in. That's what you have to be as a trader. You have to love the home that you're in as a trader. You're not influenced. You're not going to be influenced or feeling like you don't have enough. You got to be the king of your castle. Mind your own business and be the king of your own castle. But what castle are you going to live in as a trader? You have to know what those things are. And unfortunately, it's a source of frustration for new students and new traders because you don't know what you don't know. You don't know where your strengths are. You don't know where your weaknesses are. That's what makes this industry hard because 90% of this is you wrestling with yourself because the charts are going to go up or they're going to go down. And if they're not doing either one of them, they're going sideways. And that's a simple thing to measure probabilities. Is it likely to go higher or lower? Or based on the economic calendar, when's it likely not to do much at all and go sideways? So you have three decisions there. But those three decisions are going to push you, if you have a weak-minded perspective on risk, it's going to make you impulsive and you're going to chase moves and do things that are going to be outside of a model. So you have to know what you're asking of me as a mentor and what you're placing demands on yourself to follow. I've had so many students over the years come to me and say, Michael, I want to be a scalper. Okay. Why? And they can't tell me. Because I want to make money fast. And I'm afraid to lose money. So I know getting in and getting out, I have less risk of losing that way. No, you don't. That's not true. Okay. If you think that it's less risk day trading than any other style trading, that is too myopic of a view. You must, absolutely must understand and accept the fact that as soon as you enter the marketplace, as soon as you enter that market, whatever market it is, based on whatever time frame, whatever methodology, whether it be mine or someone else's, you have relinquished control over your finances to the outcome that you have no control over. Think about that, because I have continuously harped on that. And a lot of you tend to have selective hearing and you don't want to hear that. You think there's a secret advantage and there's an order block. There's a fair value gap that's going to help me, minimize that type of thing. No, risk is always there. Always. And you have to be comfortable with that uncertainty because it will visit you. Drawdown will come home and visit you. And how long you let it stay in your home is up to you. How much time being uncomfortable are you willing to absorb? That's also a factor when building a model. Because if you're going to be a long-term position trader, for folks that are listening, when you have periods of drawdown, you have to be comfortable living in that for a longer time. Because long-term position trades, they don't happen every day. They don't happen every week. So that's another advantage to me because I would not be comfortable holding a period of drawdown for weeks and months. I can't tolerate that. It's an intolerable experience for me. I can't personally endure that. That doesn't mean that you couldn't, but that's a factor that unfortunately most books and teachers don't really address, and they're paramount for someone that's just becoming interested in doing this. Because first of all, you need to be commended because number one, you don't have all your marbles if you want to do this anyway. You're not on the list of folks that have reasonable risk tolerance. You're willing to assume more risk, even though you don't want to lose. You're willing to face that. But unfortunately, the first time you get out there and you lose, that tells you who you really are. And that many times separates you from this industry. And if it happens to you, unfortunate as a trader, yes, but fortunate that you have learned your lesson early and you don't pour yourself into it and lose more money when you know it may not be something that you can do. And there's no shame in that. There's people out there that can help you if you can't execute. There's people that can manage your funds for you, but you have to be demanding of them. Show proof. How are you going to risk? How do you manage risk? But I'm pouring everything into this year, and you have to show up every day. And I will build your house with you, but you have to bring those expectations that are reasonable to me. You can't expect a mansion from a rancher. You can't expect, Ferrari performance with a Ford Pinto. And unfortunately, that's many times what happens when I have brand new, never been in the marketplace, never experienced it at all. They come to me and they think, okay, well, you're supposed to be the professional, so therefore give me a system that never loses, that never has drawdown, and I'm always going to be right, and I'm not going to be tricked into doing something and manipulated and have my stop loss hit. I'm not that guy. I'm looking for him too. I'm out there looking for him. They don't exist, folks. I mean, you're going to have to be comfortable with uncertainty. You need to embrace that. That's what trading is. This lifestyle, because that's what this is. I don't call it a career. I call it a lifestyle. You have to embrace that. And it's fun. It's fun. It's like treasure hunting. And if you sit down in front of these charts and you don't feel that passion about like being on a treasure hunt, like you have the potential to do something extremely difficult. But if you follow the rules of a well-sounded and formulated approach that manages impeccably the risks, this is really fun. It's really fun. And the outcome could potentially change your whole entire life in both senses of the term. It could be good or bad, but the potential is there. So in the home that you're making for your trading, there's different rooms. There's certain rooms that you use for certain things. In my trading, if you were to use an analogy I've been using this morning, my home has several rooms. I have the great room, which would be considered like the main entertainment room. Then I have sleeping areas, and I have the downstairs where I have a home theater and other things that I use, and I have a workout area and I have storage areas. Each one has its own main function. To get to those areas in that home, there's doorways. That's what a PD array is. You may not use certain rooms in the house, like I've had many times in homes that I barely enter into any of the certain rooms. I just don't have a reason to be in there, so they get used very little, infrequently. You want to have a home in your trading that you're using frequently, because much like a home that's not lived in, it tends to wear down and becomes dilapidated. You don't want your trading model to be that way. You only want what works and you're using. So that way you want something that's lean, not fluffed up. And that's unfortunately what many of the people come to me, they think, wow, look, look at all these videos ICT's made. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with all this? Where do I start? Where do I start with all this? And I know it's a little intimidating, but I'm passionate about teaching everything I know. And everything I know takes time. And I want to build on, I don't want to half-ass anything. I'm not lazy, and I'm demanding my students not to be lazy. And unfortunately, lazy folks have very poor opinions of me because they don't have the wherewithal to do what's required to learn properly under me. But when you see how I really teach and how I actually trade and how my students are trading, all of those things, all those video series, all those episodes, if you will, they're introducing you a component, one cog in the machine. That cog might be in that video series, that particular video, that lecture, that moment where I say something and show something that's been a hindrance to you that you have not been able to go over and pass through in your understanding. Something happens and boom, you have an epiphany. Suddenly everything clicks and you know exactly what has been holding you up, and now you can move forward. That's what the purpose of all those lessons are for. They're for my children. It's a record for them in case something happens to me. They can hear me as their dad tell them, this is what I want you to do, son, daughter, grandchildren. These are things that I've learned and I think are going to be helpful to you if you adopt them. But I also state many times, and this is the trap that ICT content produces. Because I have so many weapons in my arsenal, so many rooms in my home, and the doorways, I have many doorways in the areas in my home. I have many doorways in my trading methodology. I have different strategies, which is a room in my home as trading, but I have multiple access points to those rooms. I don't have just one doorway. That's an entry technique. I can use a breaker. I can use an order block. I can use a fair value gap. I can use a mitigation block, institutional order flow entry drill. I can buy the stops or I can sell the stops. That's many ways to get into something. What's the purpose of that room? When I'm buying something, I'm going long. I've used some strategy of many. But once I'm in the trade, if I still have room to get to the other side of my home, which is that trading model, that's my terminus, that's my target. Okay, well, I can get to the other side of my house through different ways. And different ways would be like me pyramiding more entries based on what the market is presenting me. Not every trading price run is going to have a breaker in it. So if you're only looking to try to take trades that have a breaker, you have nothing to do. And you need to be comfortable with doing nothing because your model isn't telling you to do anything right now. Not thinking, well, Instagram guys are saying that they should be buying. So, I missed that move. What am I doing wrong? You're doing nothing wrong, except for watching other people trying to do what they're doing because they're following their own model. Don't get tricked into thinking that influencers, even myself, don't think for a moment that I'm saying to you in any particular day when I'm doing something that that's the only way of doing it. It's not like that at all. And that's why it's important for you to spend time here and see different results by different students because they're all doing something different, using everything I taught. And many times they're going against a trade that I would be in, and they're still profitable. How's that possible? How's that possible? If ICT is going long, the market has to bend to his will. But think about it. He's right all the time, right? That's what you're coming to me with. That's the false sense of security that you're adopting. And I'm trying to remind you and shake you and say, no, you're going to see me do it wrong. And it's okay. It's okay. There's no reason to be alarmed by being wrong. That's part of your model. In fact, we're going to talk about how you have to build in allowances for that. Because if you don't, you'll be ushered out of this industry expediently. Maybe not as politely as you'd probably hope, but that will be the end result if you don't master yourself. But don't try to apply everything that I teach. That's the problem. That's the problem. When people come to my content, they listen to my lectures, and they see, okay, he's all over the place. Yeah. You go and you watch a painter. I don't paint. But if you're watching, there was a gentleman years and years ago, he's passed away now, Bob Ross. Okay. Guy was just chill, laid back. I used to turn, you like to sleep with me on your YouTube channel. Like if you want to go to sleep, put a long video on by ICT and I'll put you to sleep. It's a lullaby. Okay. I got no problem with that. I used to put Bob Ross on. When I couldn't sleep, I'd just watch him and happy little trees and he's painting. I'm looking at him, I'm thinking, okay, he's painting. Most of the time, he's only using a fan brush or that small little detail brush or the big wide brush. There's three paint brushes he used predominantly most of the time. And I know some of you are like, what the hell is this ICT talking about? Bob Ross and painting. Think, this guy's a professional. He's got a blank canvas. That's what your chart looks like in the morning. The hard right edge, that is a blank canvas. And most of you are staring at that thing like a deer in headlights. You have no idea what the hell's about to happen. But a professional that understands price, we are expecting art. We're expecting a beautiful delivery And we're going to engage based on what that chart does. And at the end of the day, our aim is to have a Picasso, something that we're proud of, that we engaged in. Bob Ross, the painter, he doesn't know if when he takes that brush and pushes it onto the canvas, he doesn't know for sure the delivery of that paint is going to be exactly how he's hoping it will be. That's why he has to make adjustments and tap, tap, tap all over the canvas and do more adjustments and make the thing come to fruition. And at the beginning, you have no idea what he's painting. You're confused. You're like, okay. And then suddenly, he does a little bit more with just 3 paintbrushes. All of a sudden, you see something. You see mountains. You see a lake. You see, whatever it is he had in his mind he wanted to paint. And at the end, you're like, wow, I didn't see that coming. It's beautiful. But he has all these other paintbrushes. But he goes to these certain tools, these certain 3 brushes, over many of the other ones. But if he has a purpose for reaching for that other paintbrush to do a specific function, a small little detail, he wants to go in and highlight a certain area of a tree or a rock or the light reflecting off of the water, that's what a volume imbalance is for me. It's just another tool that I can utilize to justify holding on to a trade. If it's supporting price and I'm long, great. I'm looking for it to do that. It may go through it and come back above it and I'm bullish. And I want to see it now. Does it respect that volume imbalance again? Or for the first time? I'm looking at it. I'm reaching for a paintbrush that's not required for me to do the trade, but it's supporting the idea. I might not enter on the breaker. I'm waiting for a price run and a fair value gap or a institutional order flow. That's a paintbrush. It's going to be used if the opportunity presents itself. But I'm not going to the marketplace. I'm here, guys. I have all my breakers, all my mitigation blocks, I have my fair value gaps. And I'm going to force all of this on this chart today. I'm going to press it all on there. You're going to have a mess. And that's unfortunately what neophyte traders or casual Netflix type ICT people that come here and just watch or listen to me and they think, okay, this stuff doesn't work because there was no breaker today. And look what the market did. Okay. Look what else it provided you an opportunity. I can get in the market after the market runs halfway. I can still go in those moves. I have tools for that. You're going to learn those things this year. And it won't be chasing price like everybody else will say. It's chasing price. You're not chasing price. If the move's going to move 50 handles and it's already moved 30, are you afraid to buy it still? I'm not. I'm not. A winning trade is a winning trade, and you don't know what that is yet. You don't know what you don't know. And once it runs up a lot, don't think it can't keep going. And there's rules that I'll teach you throughout this year. When should you not do it? And when should you risk it, but understand that there's a higher level of risk there that all needs to be managed. So what's your model going to be? What's the home that you're building? Are you a scalper, a day trader, a swing trader, a short-term trader, or a position trader? I'm not doing any of that decision making for you. You need to decide that. I teach day trading because I like day trading, but also as a teacher, it allows me a great deal of experience in a short period of time. You'll know right away if my stuff works because I have daily examples of it. I'm calling it on Twitter so you can see it in your charts real time, right when it's happening, and then watch it pan out. And it's fun, isn't it? It's really engaging. It's fun. This is what trading should have been for me when I first started, but I didn't have this. So I'm trying to be the Mr. Wizard. And for folks that are of the child of the 70s and 80s, you know who I'm talking about. But Mr. Wizard, he would do these little experiments with his kids on the TV show he was hosting, something scientific or whatever, and it'd be fun. I loved it. I'm trying to do that with you because I know if I show you where the market is right now and where it's going to go next, and you watch that thing unfold day after day, week after week, and it's very precise, you will be confident that you're in good hands. That's the major hurdle for me as a mentor. And that's the major hurdle for you when you're starting to learn how to do this because you're going to doubt everything. Think about it. When you go to buy a house and you work with a builder, you don't know if these people are going to do a good job. Sure, they might have references. Oh yeah, this person built this house. It's great. Okay, but they haven't built your house yet. So reviews and opinions by other people are going to influence you early on. And that's why I do what I do. I show you proof. This is precision. This is where it's going to go. This is why it's going to happen. So that way it will be able to be leaned on when the times come when you think that the lessons are not working for you. Like you're not getting the results as quick as and as efficiently as you were hoping. Like you want to learn how to do this in 3 weeks. I'm telling you, you're not going to. It's going to take you the full year. And some of you, it's going to require you to do the things I'm going to teach you and go into a little bit more of next year before you really get it. Some of you, it's been with me for a long time, that have been on the fence with wrestling with some of these things I've talked about thus far. And they've been a hindrance to you. You just don't know what it has been for you specifically. It's causing you not to get through that threshold that's needed for you to find consistency with it. You'll find probably the first month or two, it'll happen for you. And I've already seen it with my private students. When I was doing private mentorship, which I don't do, I'm doing mentorship openly now. So stop asking. the the students that were held up in their learning, just what I've been showing on Twitter, calling it live, tweeting out, this is what it is. This is go to that minute candle, watch it here, and it's going to go here. That alone, as simple as that was, it pushed some of them. Now they're funded. Now they're making money. And they've been with me since 2016, unprofitable. And now all of a sudden, just because of some tweets that I put out, real time, they see it now. Something happened, the veil was lifted, and they're able to understand what it is that they've been looking to do, but never really understood exactly what it is. And I'm not ringing in all the tools that's possible to be utilized that you hear me teach and talk about in certain videos. Like if you look at the trading plan series,